Yo, YouTube, back again for another session of Cut Talk, man. Glad I was able to get home early. Today was a blessing, man. It wasn't a bad day. Uh, Started at 5, got back to the yard at 3. The weather was beautiful, man. It probably touched 80 today, and it's at the end of October, and that's normally not the norm here in Wisconsin. So days like this, man, they a blessing. So when the wife and kids come home, man, I'm about to take us out for some pizza somewhere. Maybe find a playground and let Skylar run around a little bit. Just enjoy the weather, while it's here. So yeah, that should be a good time. And this past weekend was cool. It was Skylar's birthday, so we celebrated her birthday at the crib. Had friends and family over. So that was a good time, man. My daughter got so many gifts. I was actually kind of mad that she got that much stuff because she already got a lot of toys. So the fact that she basically got like a bunch more was like, man, really? But it was a blessing that she got to celebrate, get stuff from people and just feel the love. And I'm truly thankful for everybody who gave her gifts, gave her money, gave her clothes. We're gonna put all that to use. So appreciate y'all again, those who came. But yeah, man, when I work, I like to, listen to YouTube videos, podcasts, and music, just stuff to kind of keep my mind occupied. And I had got wind of this pastor named Donnie Swaggart, and he's kind of going through some controversy because he made it a point to call out the black church for supporting Kamala Harris in the Democratic Party because of what they stand for: abortion, LGBT rights, transgenderism, and other things that just come along with just being liberal. And he also said that you can't just vote for a party because your mom voted for the party. You can't. He doesn't understand how the black church can be a church of God but vote for a party that's anti-God. And he went on to say some more things. One point he said was, had this been 1860 and we were a church that was speaking against slavery, black people wouldn't have a problem with that. But the fact that I'm here now trying to make a stand and speak against certain things that he feels goes against biblical values, he feel like he warranted. So I had a lot of thoughts when I watched the video back. He wasn't all the way wrong, and he wasn't all the way right. So first off, you got to be very careful when you lump all black people, or all people for that matter, into one category just because some people of that group may be doing something. Like, I know a lot of black churches who don't support Kamala Harris, or who don't support some of the things the Democratic Party supports. Like, I know several black pastors who speak out against abortion, the LGBT community, transgenderism, and other things. Like, I know a lot of black pastors who do that and do it proudly. So to lump all black churches, first of all, it's sad that there's a black church and a white church. That alone is a problem, because when you get to heaven, it's not going to be a black side, it's not going to be a white side, it's not going to be an Asian side, it's not going to be a Mexican side. It's just going to be us as a unit, as a whole. Like, that alone is a problem. And I feel like those labels need to just be done away with, because we the church. We're not black, we're not white, we're not Mexican, we the church. Now because of demographics in certain areas, you might have a church that's all black, you might have a church that's all Mexican, you might have a church that's all white. There's nothing wrong with that. But to label that black church, that's a Mexican church, that's a what? No, we just church. If I'm in that area, I should feel just as comfortable walking into that church, a white church, as I do a black church or a Mexican church or Asian church or a Greek church. We should all be the church. And that's one problem I have with the church as a whole today. But yeah, like I was saying, well, bro, you can't lump all black people into one category because it's certain black people, black churches who do support that. But that doesn't mean the black church, quote unquote, black church as a whole supports that. You could say a good percentage. What he should have did is he should have called out in particular, because he was making it a point that it was a big church, big God in Church of God in Christ church who said they were going to support Kamala. He should have called out that church, and he should have called out churches like that church who support that rhetoric instead of just saying the black church. Because I guarantee you, there's some white churches who support Kamala. I guarantee you, there are Mexican churches that support Kamala. I guarantee you, it's some white churches that support Kamala Harris. So he should have just said that church in particular, and churches like that who support that rhetoric, because it's dangerous. It's so dangerous to just lump all because we black and we go to a church, we all think alike. No, we don't. Like, I can tell you right now, like, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. So the fact that I'm black, I go to church, I think like that. Am I a part of that? So that was his first mistake, or one thing that I wasn't a fan of. Second point, he says that the Democratic Party stands for these issues and the Republican Party doesn't. I haven't seen Trump condemn abortion and say that abortion should be banned. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Trump speak against the homosexual lifestyle and say that marriage should be between a man and a woman and push legislation for that. I haven't seen Trump do that. I haven't seen Trump condemn transgenderism. I haven't seen him do that at all. So how are you going to criticize and beat up one party and say it's anti-God, but yet the man who you supporting don't do those things either? So if you're going to give criticism to one side, best believe you got to look at the other side and hit them with the same standards that you hit the other party, because now you're being biased and you're being hypocritical. To me, that's why I'm not voting, because I feel like both sides aren't speaking to those issues. You know, and another issue I want to speak on, and this is kind of off topic, I'll probably have to do another video for this, and I'm going to get deep. I'm so sick of abortion being labeled as one thing, just one thing. There's so much nuance to abortion that it's crazy that I feel like the conversation don't take place. And my heart goes out to all the women who had to go through that and who had to experience that. Like, my heart goes out to the many different situations women were in where they felt that was the necessary option. Like, you know, Mom, I pray for you that, you know, one day, you know, I feel like you'll never be able to get over that pain, but that you can have comfort. But two people hooking up who don't know each other and don't want anything to do with each other, that have a baby and decide that they don't want the baby, is totally different than a mother and a father who are married, they get pregnant, and the pregnancy is going wrong, and the mother could potentially die if she has the baby. So they choose to save the mother and abort the baby. Those are two totally different scenarios. And the fact that that conversation isn't taking place, like with bankruptcy, it's chapter 7, it's chapter 9, it's different segments of bank. It's not just labeled, all bankruptcies aren't the same. Some are actually, you know, if you're going through certain things as in terms of like having a company, it's actually smart to file bankruptcy. in certain situations. Not saying that with abortion, but there are nuances to bankruptcy. I feel like it's no nuance to abortion. All abortion is the same. Each one, like, no. It's different situations that I felt like should be handled different. So, but yeah, back on the topic. I don't understand how a lot of these conservative preachers feel so big and bad and puffed up to condemn and reprimand Democrats, but don't have that same energy from Republicans. Like it blows my mind in terms, especially in terms of Trump, his morale, the things he said, what he stands for. Like, and you don't have no smoke for Trump and how he live his life and how he conduct himself, but will hit every talking point in terms of condemning the Democratic Party. And I just think it shows it just shows the, I don't know, the blindness and bias of this election, and I just can't wait for it to be over, because you just hear a lot of people who just don't sound logical trying to speak as though they are, don't sound rational and trying to speak as if they are, and it's just, I don't know, man. I'm ready for the text messages to my phone. Are you registered to be vote? Be done. I'm ready for people to quit coming to my door asking who I'm going to vote for. I'm ready for all that to be done. Back on topic. That was a sidetrack. But yeah, I feel like this pastor had good intentions, but what he should have did is, if he has an elder board or some, people who he consults with and speaks with before he delivers a sermon, I feel like, and I don't know, he maybe could have that, but they did a poor job in telling him the real. I would say, like, your intentions are right, but you need to reword this thing, buddy, because you're gonna offend a lot of people who don't fall into that category, and you're gonna look hypocritical, like, straight up, at the end of the day. And like, one thing he said that I kind of had to shake my head to is that America was built by God. And in an overarching point, yes, true, God built everywhere. But to say that and to ignore the corruption, the abuse, just the callousness of some of the men who created this country, in the certain systems and establishments they put into place to come up, like slavery and the unfair just treatment of blacks to build up this country, to ignore that. If all these dudes who built this country say they stand for certain principles, but at the same time had slaves and thought that was okay, that's a problem. And as a pastor, you have to be unbiased and rational enough to realize that. What you should have said is the values that this country was built on were godly, and were values that were trying to push a biblical lifestyle. Now, the men who had part in making this country fell short of that. And that's evidence that we need Jesus Christ and his Savior. That's what he should have said. But I just hate a lot of these people who try to sound patriotic and just ignore some of the foulness that this country's history has. It's not a bad thing to recognize that, no, this country isn't perfect. And the way this country was established was a problem. But luckily we had people who were in this country at the time who saw wrong in what was going on and fought to make this country a better place for all people. That's what should have been said by that pastor. And it just, I don't know, like, I'ma assume his intentions were good, because some of the stuff he said was true. Like, you should never vote for any candidate just based off of emotion, or because your mom voted for that party or your dad voted for that party. Things should line up from a biblical standpoint in terms of who you choose to vote. And especially with this, like, abortion, the LGBT, transgenderism. I'm not for that. Like, I don't hate anybody, and God does give us free will. So if a person chooses to live their life as a gay person, I'm not gonna hate them. I don't condone the lifestyle, and that's not what we pushing in this house. But I would never say they need to be killed or put in jail. That's just the life they choose. But I don't think that's a life conducive to what we're trying to push over here. Same with transgenderism. And the sad thing with that is like it's a lot of kids being affected by that. And that's unfortunate. And that shows how important parenting and telling the truth to kids is in today's society. But all those things, like I don't condone none of that. And I haven't seen either side stand up and say, no, that's wrong. And try to push legislation against some of that stuff, especially the stuff that goes with the kids. Like, come on, man, they kids. And you should be teaching them how to read, how to write, how to tie their shoes, how to clean themselves proper, basic stuff. That shouldn't even be in the agenda, some of the stuff they're trying to push. That's why we looked at a school Friday for our for Skylar in a Lutheran school, not too far from here, and we felt good knowing the curriculum that's going to be pushed there. So we felt good about that. You know, you read between the lines, but yeah, man. At the end of the day, like first off, the church is the church. This black white stuff got to stop because that's going to keep us more divided. If Jesus came back, will Jesus have to make a choice to go to the black church or the white? No, he's going to his church. We are all his church. If we accepted God as our personal savior, we are brothers and sisters at the end of the day, despite of what our skin pigment is. So that from that pastor, you got to realize that. And two, you can't lump everybody into one category just because a certain group of people in that category, in that group might do something. All black people shouldn't be condemned if certain black people do things. No, those black people who do that foul behavior should be condemned. But the whole group of black people as a whole should not be condemned. And he and his staff should have realized that before he went out and said what he said. And three, you can't be hypocritical. If you're going to say one thing about one side, have the balls to say it about the other side. That's being fair. God don't see Democrat or Republican. So yeah, man. So he just, I don't know. I just had to say that, man. I had to say it. I've been thinking about like, I'm going to do this video today, but I got to be calculated and I don't know, be stern and I don't know, be to the point because it just bothered me. Like, and I did, and I looked up on YouTube to see what like other Christian and content creators was gonna say about it, and I never heard anybody say that. I heard a lot of emotion, or I heard a lot of just like dismissiveness, like, oh, that's okay. Like, no, no. Some things were good in his sermon, some things were bad. But overall, especially a man at his age, you would think he would have the wisdom and knowledge to know, like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to get across a point, but me saying it like that is going to not go over well. And people are going to miss what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, man, that's my video. My wife should be home soon. I don't know where we're going to go for pizza, man. Like, we got this place called Bricks, not too far from here at Bayshore Mall. California Pizza, that's at Bayshore Mall. Then Mod Pizza, that's in Shorewood. I want to go, I would like to go to Mod, but like it's not a playground that's really that close to Mod. With Bricks, it's like a little play area, not a play area, but it's like a little foyer outside the mall. Not, it's inside the mall, like corridor or whatever. It's inside the mall. It's an area where people can sit down and kids can run around. And that's by Bricks. So that might be the move, but I'm actually kind of craving Mod Pizza more. So I don't know. Maybe it's a playground not too far from Mod that we could take Skylar afterwards or go for a walk. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's a nice day. We blessed to have both options. So it is what it is, man. Hopefully I had this video posted tonight. And man, I'm curious to hear y'all opinions too on this. because, man, we as believers, man, we got to come together at the end of the day, man. We can't let this stuff, divide us or dictate the way we think, man. I'm proud to be black, but I'm also even more proud to be a child of God. And I see my brother who's white, he the same child of God I am. And me being this shouldn't stop me from conversating and building with that man because he white at the end of the day. So y'all take it easy, man. I'm gonna get up out of here. Stay smooth and one love.